Battlestar Galactica, and Star Trek killed the same actor off 4 different times. Television history is full of actors who become forever linked to one iconic role. But just as often, character actors make their mark by showing up again and again across different franchises, often meeting similar fates. Few performers embody this better than Vaughn Armstrong, a veteran of both Star Trek and Battlestar Galactica. Between these two universes, Armstrong racked up a staggering number of deaths 4 separate times, in fact, cementing his legacy as science fiction's most reliable doomed man. This recurring pattern raises an interesting question. Why did two of the biggest sci-fi franchises of all time repeatedly cast the same actor, only to kill him off? The answer says a lot about Armstrong's versatility, the production styles of the two franchises, and the way death functions as a storytelling tool in space opera. The familiar face in Star Trek. For most fans, Vaughn Armstrong is best remembered as Admiral Maxwell Forrest on Star Trek Enterprise. Forrest was the supportive but occasionally stern Starfleet leader who gave Jonathan Archer his first command. Unlike so many of Armstrong's other Trek characters, Forrest lasted multiple seasons before sacrificing himself to save Vulcan Ambassador Soval in a bombing. His death was one of Enterprise's most poignant moments, and it cemented Armstrong's reputation as a cornerstone of the franchise. But Forrest wasn't Armstrong's first Trek role, far from it. He was one of the franchise's most prolific guest stars, appearing in The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager as well. Armstrong played Klingons, Cardassians, Romulans, and even an alternate universe Klingon in Enterprise's Mirror Universe arc. And in several of those roles, his character didn't make it out alive. One of his earliest Trek deaths came in Star Trek, The Next Generation's Heart of Glory, where he played a Klingon officer who didn't survive the episode's climax. Later, in Voyager's Endgame, he appeared as a Klingon captain doomed in the alternate future timeline. These weren't cheap cameos. They were testaments to Armstrong's ability to inhabit entirely different alien species and sell their cultural identities convincingly, even when the script only gave them a handful of scenes. Death was a dramatic punctuation mark in Star Trek, and Armstrong was often chosen to carry it because he could make even a doomed character feel lived in and real. Battlestar Galactica's tradition of tragedy. Meanwhile, Battlestar Galactica had its own way of handling guest stars, especially in the gritty 2004 reboot. The show prided itself on its high-stakes realism, and no one was safe, not even regulars. For Armstrong, who joined the series in its early seasons, this meant stepping into roles that were almost destined for tragedy. In one notable appearance, Armstrong played a military officer caught in the chaos of a silent attack. His character's death underscored the sheer unpredictability of the war against the Silence, and like in Trek, his performance left a strong impression even in a limited screen time. Later, he showed up again as a civilian leader whose decisions put him at odds with President Roslin and Commander Adama, only to be executed for treason. Battlestar Galactica was relentless in its depiction of loss, and Armstrong became one of its most reliable victims. Just as in Trek, his character served as symbols of the wider struggle, the ordinary men and women who got crushed in the gears of history. 4 deaths, 1 actor. So, how do the numbers shake out? Between Star Trek and Battlestar Galactica, Vaughn Armstrong died 4 separate times. 1. A Klingon officer in TNG's Heart of Glory, killed in combat. 2. An alternate future Klingon captain in Voyager's Endgame, destroyed in battle. 3. A colonial officer in Battlestar Galactica, lost during a silent strike. 4. A civilian leader in Battlestar Galactica, executed after political betrayal. Each death was different in context, but the through line is Armstrong's ability to embody the tragedy of war and the personal cost of galactic-scale conflict. Why sci-fi kept killing him? There's a strange poetry in one actor repeatedly dying across 2 franchises. Part of it comes down to practical casting. Sci-fi television in the 1990s and early 2000s often relied on a small stable of reliable performers who could vanish into alien makeup or military uniforms. Armstrong's deep voice, commanding presence, and ability to bring gravitas to even a one-off role made him a go-to choice for producers. But there's also a thematic resonance. Both Star Trek and Battlestar Galactica thrive on the idea that space is unforgiving. People die, often suddenly, and without warning. To sell that reality, the shows needed actors who could make a doomed character's last stand feel authentic. Armstrong delivered every single time, which may be why he was asked to do it again and again. The legacy of dying well. Most actors spend their careers trying to